We are just 16 days away from Louisville Football's kickoff in Nashville against Ole Miss. And today I'm continuing my series where I break down the Louisville Football roster for 2026. And today it's all about the linebackers. All right, first we have Stanquan Clark. Stanquan wears number 6. He's going into his 5th and final season. He's listed at 6'3", 240. He's a former top 150 recruit. He missed 7 games last year with a broken foot. But in the previous 4 seasons, he's played over 32 games. In 2024, his only full season as a starter. In 13 games, he had 76 total tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles, and he was honorable mention All-ACC. That was his breakout. We expected really, really big things last year from Stanquan, and of course, he got hurt in, I think it was the second game or third game of the season, and they actually ended up preserving his red shirt last year, which of course now it's 5 for 5, it doesn't matter. But that really sucked because, again, we all thought he was going to be all ACC, even better than honorable mention last season. But he's a physical downhill linebacker who can also drop back into coverage. He's truly a modern linebacker. You know, today in modern football, linebackers have some of the hardest assignments, period. You have to be physical at the line of scrimmage and make plays in the backfield. You got to meet linemen hat on hat. You got dudes that are much bigger than you. You got to be able to tackle without, lowering your head. On top of that, you have to be able to play in coverage against guys that have never been more athletic, never been faster. On top of that, you have to be able to diagnose RPOs, which are getting more and more ridiculous every year. Linebackers have it tough. And you can't just go out there and be, a traditional, old school middle linebacker with the big cowboy collar who plays at the line of scrimmage, and you'll get eaten alive in coverage. But Stanquan isn't that. He's truly a modern linebacker who can play at the line as well as play in coverage. And as long as he stays healthy this year, he should return back to All-ACC form. What team? Depends on how good he plays this year, obviously. But, at least honorable mention, I would hope and think. My projection for him is that he's going to be the green dot middle linebacker, which means he's going to get the play calls from the coaches. He's going to be the leader of that defense. All right, next we have Antonio Watts, who I think might be the most important and intriguing player across the defense because of his versatility. So, like I said, Antonio Watts, he'll wear number 9 this year, as he did last year. He's going in his 5th and final season. He's listed at 6'2", 225. He had a breakout season in 2024, and then last year he starred, which is a play on words because his position that he plays for Louisville is called the star position, in a hybrid DB linebacker role. So Louisville runs kind of a, as we talked about in previous videos, more of kind of like a 4-2-5 kind of defense where instead of having a traditional nickel, it's more of a safety linebacker hybrid, which I believe Nick Saban and Alabama started calling them stars. And that's what Louisville calls their hybrid as a star. I think under Satterfield we called it the card position, but here we call it star now. In 37 career games, he's got 23 starts, 123 total tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 3 interceptions, 9 PBUs, 4 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. That is just a stuffed stat sheet. He missed 3 games last year due to injury, but in 25 he was still honorable mention All-ACC. He's extremely versatile. He can line up and will line up all over the field. Linebacker, deep safety, nickel, edge, slot. He will line up everywhere. And not just, positionally, but also depth on the field. He can line up at the line of scrimmage. He can line up as a 7. He can line up as a wide 9. He can line up, mugged in the A-gap. He can line up in the second level as a traditional linebacker. He can line up again as a quarter safety. He can line up as a 25-yard deep safety. He can literally do damn near everything other than playing, interior defensive line. He's just a legitimate do-it-all hybrid athlete. He came in as a safety and kind of like a safety, maybe even a corner coming out of high school. And he's developed into someone who's a true threat to, be drafted this year. NFL teams are going to salivate over his versatility, the different ways that you can line him up and take advantage of his versatility. And my projection for him is that he's going to be the do-it-all hybrid for this team. He's excellent in pass coverage. He's comfortable covering tight ends, wide receivers. He never looks out of place. He takes great angles. He's fast. Antonio, he's just so good. He continues to impress every time you see him on the field. I'm so glad he came back. He actually entered the portal briefly before coming back. He probably was trying to get a bag. Can't blame him. I'm so glad he's back. I'm glad we're going to see him for his final season, and he's big time. Next, we got T.J. Capers. He wears number 11. He's going into his 4th season. He's 6'2", 225 pounds. He's a former 5-star edge who reclassified and then transitioned into the weak side linebacker role at Louisville. He redshirted in 23, and then in 24 and 25, he has 23 career games played and 7 starts. And in his career, he has 52 total career tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions. And one of those interceptions, all Louisville fans are going to remember it. It was arguably the biggest play of the one of the biggest plays on defense of the season last year was his walk-off interception against his hometown school, Miami. And then last year he split reps between weak side linebacker and middle linebacker. You know, with Stanquan being hurt, he split reps with Kalib Perry. He backed up T.J. Quinn. But he's primed to be the starter at weak side linebacker this year, and my projection for him is just that. He'll be the starter at weak side linebacker. This is a guy, he reclassified. He had some development to do, but it's now or never. This is his 4th season. He needs to show that he can be an every down linebacker coming into this season. And that's my projection, is that he will start or he will just straight up do that. And I want to quickly run through the 2 deep. So we have Kalib Perry, who I believe he's wearing 52 this year. That's what he was wearing in practice the other day. He's a 5th-year player who's actually back now due to the 5-for-5 ruling, court rulings. He's listed at 6'3", 230. He's a Georgetown native. Last year, he came in the season as a primary backup at middle linebacker, depth, Tennessee transfer. But due to injuries, he ended up playing a much bigger role than that. He finished the year with 55 total tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, and an interception. Started 5 of 13 games. He's more of a traditional down here linebacker. He's not the greatest in coverage. You don't want him really out in coverage. Preferably this year, he's going to provide depth, special teams play, and I think he could be out there in specific packages where it's an obvious run situation, because he is good at getting downhill, putting a hat on a hat, and making plays as a more traditional middle linebacker. All right, next, Ben Perry. We're throwing it back to Ben Perry. If you know, he was here for 4 years. He was a Satterfield recruit, a pretty highly rated Satterfield recruit. He was a top 200 player. He'll wear number 23 this year. Previously, he wore number 10. It says 5th year up there. This is actually his 6th year. I got that wrong. He's listed at 6'3". I believe it's 215. Again, he played 4 years at Louisville previously. Then he played last year at UCLA, where he actually, I believe, only played in 1 game. I'm not sure if he was injured or just buried in the depth chart. I'm not sure. He was once a safety, and then he was a hybrid nickel type deal, maybe like the guard position back under Satterfield. And this year he's actually going to be playing, I believe, weak side linebacker for Louisville. Career 42 games played, 24 starts, 132 tackles, decent bit of production. I think his role is going to be as a special teams player in depth. Running low on time, but I want to get through this. So Blake Ruffin, Louisville native, 6th season. He was an FCS All-American at safety. Now he's transitioned into the star position where he'll back up Antonio Watson. He's actually had a really, really good camp from all accounts that I've seen, read, and been told. So good for him, because I wasn't sure he was ever going to get real playing time, and I'm glad that he has carved out a role, and hopefully he does get to show what he can do in his final season. And real quick with Ruffin, I also want to mention that he was a good special teams player last year, and I think he will also continue to do so this year. Others in the mix, so I'm going to run through these guys real quick that could see some playing time. Trent Carter, Jacob Smith, Kalib, Matelau, and Cam White are all dudes who could be in line to see some playing time, but they're all going to be in the 3rd string plus special teams type players, development type players. All right, my grade for the linebacker room as a total is an A. I thought about maybe an A plus just because of how good that is for Louisville, but there are a couple holes. I got to make sure T.J. Capers is that guy. Guys got to stay healthy, but I'm giving it an A. It's one of the best position groups on the team. Got to be top 2 or 3 linebacker core, at least in the ACC. And again, this video is made in partnership with the 1912 Society. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I appreciate you guys. See you in the next one.